Diwli lanni maro lanni
fop lanni
awa joni mi anda honno gerdeten e ngal ɗo sabu e ngal ɗo Ibrahima jonnal taw joni mi anda se yahay ka pitiki ñawloɗen ha humpodire makko est ce que non e warude
waɗen no
ane ko de Ibrahima ma ko to woni
mo Amérique
ko Amérique a woni kede humpitaki fi ɓe musidɓe men baluwo ɓe andanɗa kala ko wawɗa wonde e aduna o si a rewi e juuɗe maɓɓe a jonnay ɗo dépassement o Gambia hara no weeɓi a yahata kadi taw ko mbuɗiɗi no ƴawi walla no jippi ɓe haalantama ko kala ko falɗa ko sengo ñamete ili nebba maaro basalle pomme de terre kala ko rewi ɗon a hendoto hara no weeɓi kadi wona ɗum ɗon tum ɓe jonnira e mobile phone siko ɗum kadi laptop kala ko wayrode ɗiɓe hay kasbawa ɓe wawma jonnude kadi sa fala humpitade ko weeɓi ƴettu Google account ma on joni data ton waɗa download app maɓɓe on ayiyay kala ko humpima e maɓɓe ton ɓe weeɓi yama
ka wonɗa wo e aduna o
kala ko wawɗa
a jonnanay wonɗo ka leydi men Gambia ɗo dépense
hara no weeɓi yama si ɗum non fof no neeɓi immoɗen joni mi ɗowtama ka place maɓɓe jan
waɗen joni
iya heɓa ko falata
waɗen kisam.
Are you thinking of owning your dream homes? EJ Investment is here for you. Secure our quality bungalows with 2, 3 or 4 bedrooms, or our story buildings 3 or 4 to 5 bedrooms at very affordable prices with flexible payment plans at our Sanyang Seaview Estate, where you can enjoy the cool breeze with modern infrastructure such as tar roads, covered drainage system, modern electrification with street lights, gated entrance with security posts, and social amenities such as gas station, shopping mall, medical clinic, park, schools, children daycare, and a lot more. Our dedicated team of professionals will keep the estate clean at all times, provide security and patrol team within the estate premises, install latest technologies such as CCTV, Wi-Fi, home network installation, solar panel, and power backup system. Also, check out for our additional home facilities and interior design service such as premium tiling, wall plaster, home landscape, fingerprint home lock, and a lot more. Visit our office at Senegambia Kololi Highway and get a free site visit tour, or contact us on 4464838. WhatsApp us on 3259220. Or you can visit our Facebook page or Instagram on EJ Investments. EJ Investments, we are first in properties.
Welcome to this special broadcast. For some, it's a press freedom on trial. Mr. Madi Jobarteh, who had given a media interview last Saturday to a particular journalist over issues relating to police brutality at an event, a protest event about Black Lives Matter, has been arrested and currently at Kanefin police station. Until today, Madi was reporting to Kairaba police station, where he was charged for giving false information, false broadcasting of false news. And today, he's been brought to Kanefin police station, where he's being formally charged, we are told. He's spent about an hour inside, and a policeman, probably a prosecutor, has been drafting his charges. And he's there with a couple of lawyers who are coming to his aid. I mean, for a lot of critics, I mean, this is an event that is reminiscent of the past. It's an attempt by the government to criminalize opinion. And this has been the situation for the past 3 days, and government has come under huge criticism for this action. Mr. Jobarteh, just to tell you a few things about him, he's a prominent rights activist who is the country director for Westminster Foundation. And he's been a staunch critic of government and government policies as it relates to human rights. And today, for a lot of people, he's been victimized because of his strong voice against oppression. And we would sound opinion of people here, what they think of Mr. Jobarteh's arrest and what they think the government should do. We are told for now that Mr. Jobarteh is charged and will be arraigned before a court of law. We don't know when, and we don't know if the charges also are going to be dropped. But we will sound the opinion of people here on what they think about his arrest. I mean, among people inside, Salih Tal, the president of the Gambia Bar Association, Dr. Ismail Assise, a lecturer, but also the interim leader of Citizen Alliance, a political party that's just newly been formed, and a number of other people, including his own brother, who is also a lawyer and a former magistrate, Mr. Junkun Jobarteh. We will be talking to a number of people about Madi's arrest and what it means for press freedom in this country. Because Madi was arrested, just as Dr. Cisse a couple of years ago, for interview with the media. And this has brought renewed fear in the people that this country is slipping back to a days when freedom of expression and free speech will be criminalized. We are here right now at the police station at Kanifing, and this is the third day since Mr. Madi Jobarteh has been arrested by the police. Dr. Ismail Cisse, an interim leader for Citizen Alliance, but who has been also in the news 3 years ago for a similar decision by the government to arrest someone who had spoken to the media. Mr. Cisse, this is an all too familiar event.
Yes, of course. I think what happened 3 years ago was the beginning of this whole process by the current government to silence critics. That is why we're here today to show solidarity and to send a very strong signal to the borough government that gone are the days when you will use state security as an instrument to silence critics.
What do you think this means for a country in transition? We've had 22 years where rights have been trampled upon and critics have been silenced, the media and their interviewees, journalists arrested. What do you think this means for our transition into democracy?
Well, it means bad. It shows that we are backpedaling and might be sleepwalking back into dictatorship. But there is good news for us and bad news for Barrow and his government, that since the change of government in 2016, the minds of the citizens have been reset to democracy mode. The state might still be in dictatorship mode, that is their problem. But for us, we're in democracy mode, and we cannot go back. And the whole world is watching Gambia. Gambia was an example for a successful transfer of power from a dictator to democracy, peacefully. So the whole world is watching our transition. And the transition is not over yet. The reforms are still on. The whole transitional justice mechanism and the whole gamut is still on. So therefore the world is watching, because we are seen as a beacon of hope for Africa insofar as democracy is concerned. So the message I would send to Barrow is to understand that he should not disappoint, that this was a watershed moment for the Gambia to show the world that we can do it in our own way. And that is why there was so much goodwill, not only from outside a country, but even from citizens. So therefore, this whole, what is happening is a big disappointment. It's a big letdown for many people. That is why people are saying from high hopes to let down. And the manner in which it is happening, it is very dangerous. I mean, letdowns can happen gradually. People can get used to it. But when it happens in a revolutionary manner, it can trigger some kind of reactions from the population that will not, that is not good for the country.
We have established a truth commission that's currently dealing with Jammeh era violations, and part of the things that the truth commission is looking into, it's arrest like this, detention, and also torture of critics. I mean, do you think that by its own actions, the government is also undermining its investigations into the past era crimes?
Yeah, but the government has started undermining the Truth Commission before even it started. And even during the Truth Commissions, we've seen where people who are considered to be perpetrators of heinous crimes in this country, people who bore the greatest responsibility, being put back into the system. I mean, that alone has undermined the integrity of the Truth Commission. The purpose was to find the truth. What happened under dictatorship? Which institutions failed? Which people bore the greatest responsibility? Who were the victims? What happened to them? This was the purpose. And then once we know the truth, then we can reconcile as a nation. We can reconcile with the state because the state was seen as the biggest perpetrator at that time. It wasn't a case whereby it's citizens against citizens, ethnic groups against ethnic groups. It wasn't. It was the state using these security instruments to perpetrate terror against the citizens. So this has to reconcile with the state and start trusting state institutions, because there was a time when we lacked confidence and trust in the state institutions. Even if you say police officer in your street, you are wondering, what are they here to arrest me? That has to go. So therefore, the government is not helping the transitional justice mechanisms. All they are interested is to entrench themselves in power to the detriment of the whole transitional justice process.
Do you think this may have happened at a very bad time? I mean, we've just had a justice minister that some people criticized, but also praised for his firm stance in defense of human rights. And some people would even say he probably would have intervened in a situation like this. He resigned, of course, over unexplained issues, but some said it's because he has a different position on a lot of issues, including Jambe-era crimes, to the president, who is apparently flirting with a political base of the former president. Do you think this may have happened at a particularly bad time and could have probably even still sent some fears within the international community?
But I'll tell you something. When it comes to rights abuses, there is no good or bad time. They are bad. At any time you do it, it's bad. And this is a particular case that it's bad. Whether the time is not important. And for me, I don't buy the idea that had Barr still been around, this wouldn't have happened. He was around when I was arrested. and my rights were violated. He was around when others were arrested. He was around when the security forces shot and killed people in this country. He was around. What did he do? Nothing. So for me, I don't think it's bad. I think it's unfortunate that it happened. It's unfortunate that you would arrest and charge a prominent human rights activist for expressing his opinions on issues of national concern. And his opinions are his opinions. And when you listen to the video again and listen to it again, all he said is fact. So
you don't share general excitement about Barr's good records, quote unquote, in office.
I mean, Barr did some good things. He initiated the whole transitional justice process. So obviously you cannot say everything was bad. He did some good things and we should commend him. But my problem with his departure is that he abandoned his aircraft in mid-flight. This was a critical time for the transitional justice process. It seems as if the whole thing is crumbling. We've started seeing those signs. So why is he jumping ship? For me, he would have, as a patriotic citizen, as someone who believes in the whole transitional justice project, to oversee it to the conclusion. And then we know he's done a very good job. But now, every good thing he started, if this whole thing fails, he might be one of the reasons why it's going to fail. Because the person who's going to come and replace him might not have the same clout, might not have the same institutional memory, might not have the same passion, the same understanding of the whole thing. So therefore, I mean, he just built a house. Before he finishes the house, he just abandoned the house.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you. Ismail Assise. He was one of the first people who were arrested by the government for a comment he has made on a decision that the president did not visit military barracks since he came to power. And for that he was arrested. This was a news interview. It was an interview he had with me, published on the Voice newspaper. And now we would speak to Mr. Jobarteh. Okay.
Kanifim police here to the prosecution office. So Silenyo si prosecution office be, so the police prosecutor when they receive na file be, and when I mean, the kind of order or directive he has is to prosecute me for false publication and broadcasting. So I got into a new bail. So I'm bailed again. So the manual second time, $200,000 and 2 government sorties. So Monday the manual put report, and then hopefully that Monday or Wednesday, they'll take the matter to the court. So I'll appear in court. Yeah. Yeah.
When are you expected to appear in court?
Yeah, I'm supposed, I could appear in court on Monday, but I'm reporting here Monday 8:30, and then it depends, but it's Wednesday that they said I would appear, but it could be before Monday or even, before Wednesday or even after Wednesday. So I'm just prepared for Monday anyway.
There are a lot of critics of government who said this is an attempt to intimidate right activists, but also journalists who are giving an opportunity or a platform to critics of government. Do you share a similar sentiment?
Oh, definitely. I'm not just activists and journalists, but this is an attempt to silence each and every Gambian citizen. Our constitution guarantees our right to freedom of expression and our right and duty to hold the government, the state to account. So, which means we have a right to criticize public institutions and public officials for their decisions and actions in any way we can. So that is what I did. And so if you charge me for saying that, that means they want to now me to shut down. But not just for me to shut down. Eventually, it means you cannot even interview me because of a criticism that may come, which means I'm an ordinary citizen. So any other ordinary citizen similarly would not be bold enough to say what he or she dislikes about the government. So effectively, this is a charge that is harming the heart of our democracy and good governance. And it's a bad law, and it's a law that we have campaigned over the period that false publication is not a democratic law. It's not a law that should exist in a democracy. So, what is happening is therefore this government is using this law once again, just like the former regime, to silence Gambians so that people will not hold them to account for their decisions and actions. And that means what they want is to have a state that is unchecked. And a state that is unchecked, that's dictatorship. So effectively, for me, what I'm seeing is a slide back to dictatorship. That's what's happening. So that's why I'm going to fight this case.
Do you feel intimidated?
Oh, not at all. I don't feel intimidated. I'm no iota of intimidation. Yeah, I know already attempts. What's happening is all intimidation, and in the way they conducted this, because in the first place they lured me into the police station on the basis that they are inviting me, only to prevent me from leaving, and yet claim I was not arrested. So for me, that in itself is intimidation, and it tantamount to kidnapping. And so now they've transferred this here. For comments that are very democratic, that violate no law in this country, particularly the Constitution. And so if the police or the Gambia government disagrees with my opinion, democratic culture would have informed them that they should rather refute my claims than to seek to criminalize my opinion, which is a direct threat to our democracy and good governance.
Thank you, Mr. Jobarteh.
Thank you.
So we're still here at the Kanifing police station. This is where Madi has been moved now since his arrest 3 days now. He's now being charged for broadcasting of false news relating to an interview he has granted to some local media platforms relating to quote-unquote police brutality. His claim was that police have not investigated the death of Keba Seka, Usman Dabo, and Mr. Haruna Jatta. So here with me, because he was arrested for giving a media interview, and here with me is the president of the Gambia Press Union, Mr. Sirif Bojan Jr. Mrs. Bojan, what do you think this means for our democracy? And as a press freedom advocate, what does the arrest of Mr. Jobarteh mean?
First, I would say that Madi, in addition to the fact that this is a freedom of expression issue, which is so dear to the heart of the Gambia Press Union and the media fraternity, is that Madi is a paid-up member of the Gambia Press Union, has always been a member of the Gambia Press Union. So to answer your question, first, I think this is democracy in reverse. Just a little over 3 years ago, we thought that arresting people for merely expressing their opinion, their views as citizens, was a thing of the past. We were done with it. But what we've seen today, right now, is scary, is painfully depressing, and it's also unfortunate. Madi Jobarteh has been one of the most consistent advocates, peace advocates for that matter, in this country. Madi Jobarteh is a rare breed. Madi will even defend people who insult him, who threaten him, who malaise with him. Madi Jobarteh, as far as his advocacy is concerned, does not belong to any political party. Madi will fight for truth and justice, and will fight against falsehood, and will fight against injustice of every Gambian. So to arrest that person, because it was an arrest, if you were not allowed to leave, even though the police told you were not under arrest, that means he was arrested, and in his word, he was kidnapped. So to subject that person, that great son of this country who fight for justice and inequality, to such, heavy-handedness is quite unfortunate. And I want to be on record to say the Gambia Press Union will stand by Madi. We will stand shoulder to shoulder with him to fight for Madi. And what Gambians need to understand, this is not a fight for Madi Jobarteh. This is a fight for everybody. I've always said that you may dislike Madi, you may agree or disagree with Madi. Everybody does. Sometimes I don't see eye to eye with him in his opinions. But then what is there and what is the truth is that the day Madi Jobarteh keeps quiet or shuts his mouth is the day the Gambia will plunge into anarchy. And this is unfortunate that he's been subjected to this kind of tactics, wasting his time, report here, report there, charging him with bogus charges. I think that's quite unfortunate. And what people need to understand is that if the authorities, the security authorities or whoever is responsible for this, if they get away with this, then everybody can be assured that there will be a roof of insecurity hanging over everybody's head. If it can happen to Madi, it can happen to everybody. So if you fight for Madi, you're not fighting for Madi Jobarteh, you're fighting for yourself and you're fighting for the country.
Finally, Mr. Bojang, we've seen Dr. Ismail Assisa was one of the first who were arrested for this kind of issue. He also gave a media interview, and we've seen the Gambia Press Union issued a statement on that, condemning it. And because of the very fact that what happened to him could have also happened to the journalist who broadcasted his opinion. Is this the concern of the union too, that it's an attempt to also, it's an attack also on press freedom?
It is an attack on press freedom. If people can talk to journalists and they get arrested or they get detained or they get kidnapped or they get charged, then this is a problem because we are not operating in an isolation. My concern is that if they can arrest, kidnap, or charge people, citizens, ordinary citizens, for expressing their opinions or expressing their views on issues that are so pertinent to this country, then I think there is likelihood that journalists will also be subjected to it, because oftentimes those they arrest for expressing their views, they speak to journalists, they speak to the media, they address the public, the citizens through the media. So this will be a problem. I am concerned. We can see, as you rightly said, from Dr. Ismail Assise to now, this is a trend and it's always a test case. Madi is here as a test. If they succeed in silencing Madi, if they succeed in curtailing the freedom of expression of Madi, then they come after everybody. And that is why everybody should stand up for themselves, for the country, by standing up for Madi Jobarteh and against this staggering stupidity, to make sure that it doesn't happen, to make sure that whoever wants to silence dissent is not succeeded or is not successful, because this is a test. We are approaching election year where everything, or during which everything will be at risk, where of course there will be cases of heavy-handedness because people will be scrambling for votes. This is a test. an experiment, and Madi is used as that experiment. If they succeed in silencing Madi or putting Madi in jail, then all of us should be ready, because they will succeed, they will come for us, and they will succeed in going after all of us. So we will not, as far as the Gambia Press Union is concerned, we want to add our voice to the efforts of the civil society fraternity who are going to stand up and say no to these kind of tactics, these Jammeh era tactics. We have to be honest to ourselves. People who are at the helm of the affairs of this country today fought against this issue, this same issue, during the regime of Jammeh. All of us, we condemned it. It was not proper, it was not right, it was not lawful. So if they could fight against it yesterday, what will make them, or what give them the carte blanche to support it today and to do it today? What was not right yesterday cannot be right today, just because the people who fought against it are in power and are enjoying and are close to the corridors of power. We say no to this, and Gambia Press Union stands in solidarity with Madi till he is free, and we will stand in solidarity with freedom of expression issue in this country.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
That was Mr. Sirif Bojan Jr. He's the president of the Gambia Press Union. Now, Madi, like I said at the beginning, was charged for broadcasting of false news. I mean, in a media interview he has given to journalists in front of the American embassy. I mean, this was at a moment when he was leading a protest called Black Lives Matter. This was triggered by, as you would know, the ongoing global movement for racial injustice in the United States. It was triggered by the death of one Mr. Mayor Floyd. And this gentleman was killed by a police officer. And it triggered a global movement against racial injustice and police violence in the United States. And Mr. Jobarteh was also adding his voice onto that. But during his protest ground, he had made a statement about the fact that Mr. Haruna Jatta, one of the protesters who were leading a protest against economic presence in the Phonies, was shot dead allegedly by economic forces. And Mr. Jobarteh claimed this was not investigated. And also Mr. Usman Dabo, who died as a result of reported police torture in prison at the anti-crime unit in Bijilo, was also reportedly tortured, and he died. This resulted into violence we've seen on the street between the police and people who were in support of Mr. Dabo, who were protesting for his rights to be protected. We've seen Mr. Gorjimbu, who was the leader of the anti-crime division, has had his house burnt down by this protest. But one also, Keba Seka was also, this was in 2019, one Keba Seka was also stabbed, reportedly by a police officer. And Mr. Jobarteh's position was that these incidents were not investigated, neither did the authorities do anything significant about them. And that is why he's been charged for false broadcasting. But what Mr. Junior Sirif Bojan, the president of the Gambia Press Union, was saying was that this could have happened to the journalist who granted him an interview in the first place, because this law is particularly meant for journalists who would broadcast opinion of dissent that the authorities considered a crime. As he had also made mention of the fact that the civil society is going to issue a statement or hold a press conference to denounce Madi's arrest. You would know that Madi, who is currently the country director of Westminster Foundation, was also the executive director of Tango. It's a consortium of civil society organizations in this country. And Mr. Jobarteh is a prominent right activist who must associate with, must regard as the leading right activist in this country. And we would be in the Carnifing courts on Wednesday, when Mr. Jobarteh is expected to appear in court to bring you reports of anything that happened there. For now, we will thank you for being with us, and have a good day.
communication, connectivity is everything. We ensure that the links never sleep. Quantities and qualities, all in our data service, providing efficient, reliable voice and data service. We believe if you're not up to speed, then you're going backwards. Communications have to flow as fast as the speed of light. Whatever business you're in, having someone who understands your needs is critical. That is why we just don't offer you technology, we offer you solutions. Enjoy Gamcel's internet broadband anytime, anywhere. Your national operator, Gamcel, Yaibaram.
I get it. Albaka.
Mbaka important.
Yo, nga transfer la sto.
Ya transfer la sto.
Ha, code nyinji.
Okay. Person.
Nsila ID soto.
Sa soto. Sorry. I get it.
Bijan bro.
Albaka.
Mbaka.
Bara alla service o tariaka.
Mbare.
Mo ki janna nun kunu bara tariaka.
Jannom yona forest de bureau. Gambia tonkon na no mbari ya bere. Birim koyna fo kato.
Bari si kodo kino kato ni fo bolong blabe to.
56 branches mola sota Gambia jam.
Ha?
Gambia kono anin Gambia bantala bankol. Nka kodo kiya bere to. Kodo sifa fo falindiro fo nyaadi lafta memmen na kodi to poto nin kodi maraw. Jannam number 1 di nyonta. Andum fana nata anoda enterprise sotale. Wolam nyindi ko domorol fana kol fana be firale de dadi manin domorol dir fana beteat. Gambia dawda yalo ngam fa kendol sotale je.
Wo moyo diat ha.
Afelenta
ni
barka
ni me lafta nyelen kendol e binaji.
Yalo bukani la ko la barka ba.
Yalo ndel chosano lo.
Abarka.